because if you don't take down the Nexus, he's going to be able to resaturate this. He's going to put up a larger defense next time. You really want to take out the Nexus alongside because it does so much extra damage. Canata already has weapons 3 and armor 1. I think I saw weapons 2 only for BeSt so far. Not quite sure whether it has any armor upgrades yet. But losing a lot of those arbiters out of the play really not helping him. He is going to mill out towards the 1130 though, getting some Mind Drags onto those SCVs. Tanks kind of clumped up. They're not really defending, but this is enough of a dense position that BeSt is going to be forced back. Did lose the next at 4 o'clock. Probably lost the next at the lower left end as well. So BeSt now mining off 4 bases. Canata also off 4 bases. BeSt, yeah, looking a little bit troubled on his face, while Canata is actually using this time to expand. Ends at 9 o'clock. BeSt still has all those arbiters in play. Some of them do not have really the energy or the shield to help stasis-wise or recall-wise, but some of those are going to be able to do that. At the very least, an arbiter already helps. It's a little bit of extra auxiliary fire. Mind you, not very strong auxiliary fire, but a little bit helps. And, of course, the cloaking ability also helps. Definitely going to force those science vessels to fly into a risky position. Going to force some scans to go off. Still, BeSt managed to keep a very, 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 very large troop count. And you can see that Canata also keeping a very large number of vultures and tanks, some Goliaths in the mix just to help against those arbiters. Actually, not seeing as many Goliaths as I would like. I think he needs an extra Goliath here and there, because I see a lot of vultures to fly in front force. I also see a few okay, that's enough. I think that's enough Goliaths. That's going to be able to kill. Getting some EMPs off. Some stasis coming on some of the frontal tanks is going to allow these Dragoons to attack from range. Very nice tank line overall from both sides. We're going to see whether another stasis going off. Even more tanks. The Arbiter did die, but this is going to definitely give BeSt enough space to possibly moving into this game just with this. That going to get a full surround on all these forces. Some reinforcements are coming in for Canata. This is not going to be enough. BeSt has enough alongside with these Dragoons, picking off the last of these tanks, and all of these stasis units are just going to get surrounded. BeSt moving in with more forces. Zealots leading the way. Science vessels dying. That's not going to get not really a big help. Now this inside 9 o'clock is also heavily risked for him. BeSt just with a big push there, doing a lot of damage, taking out quite a few of the forces with BeSt. Now just going to wait around, surround these last few forces that are on the ground. BeSt actually, Canata, interestingly enough, at the 12:30 o'clock, thinking of expanding, putting up another command center. I'm not quite sure with the amount of forces he just lost, but that's really a safe plan to do, because he is losing a base on the 9 o'clock, inside 9 o'clock. Thought he was losing a base on the inside 9 o'clock, pardon me. There was some damage done there, but he does have a base that was taken up, and the cancel at the 12:30 was forced. He's being forced to cancel bases all over the place. But Canata doesn't have the amount of forces he needs against BeSt here. BeSt is controlling the map. He has the larger army, and I need a sip of water. Correct. Arbiter's leading the way. Nice mines going off into their own vultures. I think there was a zealot right there. These forces are going to move towards its inside 9 o'clock. You're going to be able to do I think they're actually going to be able to penetrate this. There are, with all those arbiters supported, their stasis, the science cells, the Dragoons are going to have enough firepower to take this out, I feel. There are going to be some scans, of course, to help some of this, push some of this back, but another stasis going off on those tanks. More reinforcements coming in. I'm not really quite sure will BeSt get some of this, because I think his main should be mostly dried up at this point. His natural expansion not mining a lot either. And that's, yeah, just his natural expansion and that 4 o'clock base, the only thing I mine. I think he has actually taken the 2:30, the 4 o'clock base. He's actually had the 4 o'clock base. He's taken the 3 o'clock base, or at least according to the minimap, he's taken that. So he's mining on 4 bases to Canata's 4, although there was a little bit of damage done and that inside 9 o'clock. Also, upgrade-wise, BeSt is finally kind of caught up. Weapons 3, armor 1, weapons 3, armor 2 for Canata. Actually, going to force you mill some of those probes around to fight back. Does, just now going to get up at 3 o'clock. Not quite sure whether he had it up this entire time or not. They haven't really shown it. I think he's just shattering this at this saturating this, at this very moment. They always get really confused with these entire macro games, because both players just produce a crap load, a ton load of forces all over the place and just mill around the map. I feel Canata really needs to he has a lot of vultures in play, not really quite sure how many of those have mines. He really needs to do what he's doing right now, what he did early on, go around, put mines in some places. He does put a turret at this 12:30 where he wants to put up a base. That's going to be prevented, though. That the CV and the turret are both going to go down. But he really wants to just put mines around the map and just take bases, know what his base is. He's fully upgraded at the moment, so if he wants to go for engagement, this is the time to go for an engagement before BeSt catches up fully with upgrades. But he doesn't really have mines everywhere he wants to have. I think he's got the lower left hand fully mined, which is one of the critical bases that BeSt is going to want to take alongside the upper right hand, which is kind of where he's slowly pushing towards since he has the 3 o'clock. But he really wants to have the full spot and everything. He's already lost the mines there at the upper right hand. He really wants to make sure he knows what BeSt is doing. That's the most important part for him right now. Because BeSt is just continuing. He's lost some arbiters here and there, and he's actually lost quite a lot of them, particularly with these early 2 recalls that, well, did do some damage, but not enough. And he was actually quite a bit far in the back foot, but has kind of gotten himself back into this game just with the help of some nice attacks. His main at the moment not mining at all. Natural expansion still somewhat mining, and yeah, the 4 and 3 are giving him a little bit of resource, though the 4 o'clock's dying too. Really wants to go around and finally do some damage. I think actually BeSt wants to play a bit of a more defensive game at the moment. Allow himself to get up a larger base. Allow him to macro up. Because if he tries to go for another recall, tries to go for more economic damage on Canata's part, he might wipe out the army. He's already lost a large army count. Despite his nice engagement, he's lost quite a bit of army. Canata, meanwhile, has been allowed to build up. Has yet another large tank force standing right in front of the 1230. He really wants to make sure that BeSt does not take out one of his more bases. He needs another base. He needs to get another gas up. Also milling some force to the upper right-hand position. He also wants to take that and hold it. If he manages to take it away from BeSt's, he's also going to be very close to threatening BeSt's 3 o'clock position. So he wants to take full control here. He's going to take the 1230 indeed. Has some vultures at the upper right hand at the very moment just to give him a full spot. And I'm not really quite sure whether BeSt wants to try to go for this position that Canata has set himself up. He has quite a nice line of tanks, mines, Goliaths. But Canata at this point has built up a large army alongside. Not really quite sure whether he wants to run in full engage. If he has full stasises, if he has all of those arbiters, they are going to give him stasis. He has, what, 5 arbiters out in the field. If he does have enough for stasis, he could do it for this. He is going to go for this. Bridges on both sides. Get some stasis on some of the tanks. Killed a lot of the vultures alongside. Loses some arbiters. Get some very nice stasis off. He's going to be able to run in, I feel. There are still some tanks out in the field by Canata. More stasis could be forthcoming. Science vessels and some of those tanks that have been stasis, though I think these tanks on the left side are going to be able to be picked off quite handily. Another science vessel being stasised. And this is going to force Canata to lift out the command center. Mold his forces that were moving in to reinforce along that science vessels are going to be forced to move back. No mobile detection by Canata. That's just going to form to run to the safety of some turrets that are going to give him a little bit of detection. BeSt even sneaking in some zealots towards that barely mining 1130. And, oh man, he's going to lose a lot of these forces when he moves in some forces to reinforce right now. I just don't think he has the science vessels for it. BeSt is going to be allowed to surround these forces, come to life. One of the science vessels get picked off. Only a few tanks left. That is going to at least allow him die fighting. But I think the science vessels are actually also going to come down. One science vessel on the right side of it. And BeSt is going to, I think, take this entire movie out. He's going to lose an arbiter alongside. Some of those tanks might drop, but I think far too large a dragoon number to, yeah. Far too large a dragoon number. All these tanks go down. Vulture's not really going to manage to fight these dragoons off too handily. He did manage to I think he's still holding. Yeah, still holding his 1230. I don't know how the hell, probably repaired like crazy right now, but these dragoons are going to run right towards it right now. Going to start picking it off. Not quite sure what Canata has the units really at this point. Get back in this game. Losing yet another science vessel. At this point, losing that mobile detection is so bad, so critical for him. Losing that, just horrible position. Even using defensive matrices at this point to try to keep some of those tanks alive at the front, but Dragoon and Zealot numbers, particularly the Dragoon numbers, so high for BeSt at this point that he's just pushing Canata back, pushing him back, and of course every step back you push a Terran player, he's going to have to... A Terran player will of course set himself up with some defensive grids. He can kind of retreat to a larger defensive grid each time, but each time you're forcing a Terran to retreat, you're taking an advantage, because each time you force him to break one defensive grid and run to another one, there most likely going to be a base he's going to have to sacrifice or something along those lines to do so. Canata is going to move in with several vultures towards this 3 o'clock base, going to pick off quite a few probes.